Okay, can I get eyes up the front, please, year 7? Just eyes up the front, please. Okay, thank you. So now that we've completed our lesson on ancient Greek religion, we'll be starting on your XIL. It's going to be a group project, and you'll have the rest of this lesson as well as next lesson to complete that. And you'll be submitting a copy of that to the most recent Google Classroom post. And I will be going through today what you need to do, but you'll also find a set of written instructions on that Google Classroom post, okay, year 7? So before I begin, who can tell me what is a key feature of ancient Greek religion? Okay, Angela? Okay, excellent. Yeah, so year 7, we've just heard over here that ancient Greece was a polytheistic society. Now, who can remember what we mean by polytheistic? David, yeah? Okay, excellent, thank you. So yeah, polytheistic meant that there were a number of different gods. Excellent, year 7. Okay, so because we don't have time to look at every single god ourselves, our XIL is going to be a jigsaw activity. Now, can we remember what we mean by a jigsaw activity or what that involves? Okay, yeah. Yeah, excellent, thank you. So in a jigsaw activity, you'll imagine yourselves as the pieces of a jigsaw puzzle, and everyone is going to investigate their own piece, and when that comes together, you get the whole picture. So for our XIL, you'll be breaking into small groups and investigating one god each. Now, in your groups, you're going to research your god and use this information to create an interview with your god, which you're going to film and upload to Google Classroom along with your transcript as well, year 7. You will also be encouraged to make this video as creative and visually engaging as possible. Now for that, I'll be leaving some craft supplies up the front here, which you're welcome to use. And I'm encouraging you to design your own props or stick symbols associated with your god to your costume. So for example here, you might choose to do Zeus, the god of thunder, and you could design a thundercloud which you can stick to your costume, and I'll be showing you how to do that as well. Or if you're doing Athena, you might like to do an owl because she's the goddess of wisdom. Okay, now who can remember how many gods will we be investigating? Yeah, that's right, just the one god. Now, once you've completed your transcript, you can film it and upload it to the Google Classroom post, and I'm going to be editing all of your videos together so that we have our own class news broadcast. Now, before I do break you off into your groups, I've also put a Google form on that classroom post, and I'd like you to submit that before the end of this lesson, okay, year 7? And I want you to tell me on that form which god you'll be covering, who is in your group, and what role each group member will be taking on. So who can tell me a few examples of the different roles that we have in our group projects? Okay, yeah. Yeah, so we have our performers, yep, our video editors, yep, and our prop designers, all of those different sort of roles. Now, while I don't mind you breaking those between you, I do want you all to be contributing to that Google Doc, to your transcript, and I'll be going around making sure that everyone is adding to that. Okay, now just before I send you off, your transcript documents are attached to the post, and if you get stuck, there are a few discussion prompts that you might like to use as a guide. For example, you might like to tell me what is your god's origin story and why are they significant to ancient Greek society. And now remember, year 7, this is a group activity, so I want to hear you talking and working together, and I'm excited to see what you can come up with. Okay.
My previous instructions are directed at a mixed ability Year 7 class completing Depth Study 2, the Mediterranean World. In developing my video, I was conscious of the many factors determining the success of effective classroom instruction. Of particular focus was the integration of both verbal and non-verbal pedagogical strategies. Verbally, my priority was to deliver clear, concise instruction. I implemented questioning strategies, such as open questioning, to help assess if my students were understanding my instruction. For example, asking my students what polytheism means, rather than simply, does polytheism involve multiple gods? As Lyons et al. Notes, these yes or no questions are closed, and so do not inspire the same level of critical thinking. Additionally, this questioning encouraged active student participation that helped to recenter class interest, which may otherwise be lost when giving long, unbroken sets of instruction. Not only was I conscious of the wording of my instruction, but also of factors such as the tone of my voice, and in particular, the emphasis of key words or phrases that I wanted to draw my students' attention to. When considering nonverbal communication, I was aware of how influential a role my body language can play. Lyons notes that an educator can signal attentiveness with an open body, uncrossed arms and legs, leaning forward and smiling. I aim to replicate this open, affirmative presence within my own instructions. Furthermore, in the beginning of the instructions, I used a visual cue in raising my hand and waiting for my students to copy the gesture, so I could ensure the centering of attention and regain class control. These gestures also help to build a presence in the classroom that is critical in maintaining control by recentering attention when needed. In the development of my instructional video, I identified two unique students whose needs I have aimed to cater for. My first is an identified gifted student who I struggle to keep engaged with classroom content if there is not sufficient challenge. I have aimed to address this through the more open-ended style of an inquiry learning-based project, where the student is challenged to produce a creative representation of the topic they have investigated. Furthermore, I have implemented the assignment of roles. As Chung R notes, this may inspire gifted students to take on roles of greater responsibility, such as leadership roles, in which they can ensure a level of control. Bender also supports this division of roles, affirming, quote, each member would be able to use their own personal strengths to achieve the group goal while also learning from the rest of the group, end quote. My use of a Google form ensures this assignment of roles is explicit, and by enabling me access to how the students are dividing the roles, also allows room for adjustment if needed, while still allowing students the autonomy of being able to select their own roles. Furthermore, my choice of an inquiry-based project is a recommended strategy for engaging gifted students, as Category 3 of the Enrichment Triad model, which SISC affirms, quote, includes individual and small group investigations of real problems, and it is with this type of enrichment pedagogy that we have seen the most innovative and creative examples of talent development, end quote. That is, the open-ended format provides a creative outlet for student innovation. My second student is also one whose attention I find difficult to retain. They are diagnosed ADHD and find teacher-led lessons to be disengaging. I have aimed to retain their attention in the giving of instructions through a number of techniques. Firstly, building a greater classroom presence through body language and gestures, such as my visual cue at the beginning, is particularly useful. In addition, I have been conscious that I may not be able to hold their attention for the prolonged period of giving instructions, so I have further offered a form of non-verbal communication through the provision of additional written instructions in the classroom post. Additionally, I have included resources to assist my student in collaborative learning, such as the scaffold containing discussion prompts. This method of scripting serves as a tool that provides, quote, support for arguing, explaining, and question asking, according to Nyaki et al. The aim of this is to ensure relevant discussion points my students can easily return to if they get off topic. Furthermore, my resource of the exemplar props helps to generate visual interest in my instructions, while also providing a sense of standard of benchmark to help guide them in their task. Ultimately, I believe my instructions are reflective of a range of contemporary pedagogical strategies, including techniques of both verbal and nonverbal communication. I also believe I was effective in catering for the diverse needs of a mixed ability classroom, exemplified through the differentiation adjustments implemented for my two focus students.